good, YouTube? Today we got in this 335i. It's got an automatic transmission. We're gonna be doing a manual swap to it today. We got the 6-speed manual trans. We got the drive shaft, clutch, flywheel, all the necessary pedals. And then we got an RTD right here. This thing is pretty. Check this out. Customer purchased from Colorado N5X. Got a good deal on it. Got bolts. Got the manual harness. We're just gonna drop the trans, drop the drive shaft. Customer wants to keep the automatic diff, since most of you know that the automatic diffs are a little more peppier than the manuals, so it'll have more like acceleration to it paired up with the manual trans. So we're gonna drop the transmission, drive shaft, get all the pedals taken care of, and then we're gonna have to make something with to make the automatic brake reservoir work with the master cylinder we're gonna add for the clutch. So let's get it. Right now I'm just dropping the exhaust. We're gonna drop it from the downpipe over here, but we are gonna take this downpipe off from the turbo because they'll be putting in we'll be putting in a hood exit. It's a teardrop. I'll show you that in here in a second, but he's got a whole custom exhaust, single exit. I believe this is either an ATM exhaust or a VRSF, not a race, but a VRS street maybe, since it has this resonator. But we're gonna get this dropped down. That way we can get this tray off and then get this trans out and then drive shaft and then go from there. Right now we got the exhaust off. We got the half shaft of the drive shaft off. Right now we're working on all the trans bolts. Oh, damn. So we got all the torque converter bolts off. There's 6 of them, you can see. And then right now I'm working on the trans line right here. There's a mounting bolt over here. It's just a 10. And then one in front of the oil pan, which is right here, and that's another 10. And then you gotta take off the 2 lines up there. Basically you just push these in and then you press the tab and then they come out. So yeah, we're gonna get that line out and then we can get this trans dropped and work on everything else. All right, so we just got the trans out. As you can see, it made a freaking mess. This got stuck on the flex plate, and when we took the trans out, it just spilled everywhere. It was just stuck on the flex plate, but it wasn't too bad. Surprisingly, it had all the bolts around it. Usually M54s are always missing a couple because people like to not put one up here or up here, but this one had all of them. So now we just got to take off the flex plate and install the new clutch and flywheel kit. I don't need this anymore. Alright, so right here we got the M factory flywheel. It's a single mass instead of the dual mass. Basically just like eliminates the problem of that bearing that's in the dual mass and lets you put more power down. And then we got the IS clutch right here. So this setup right here is good for around like 500, 550 wheel. It should hold the single turbo pretty good with the manual trans. So go ahead and get this installed. It should just slide right on. Right there. Alright, so here we're under the car. We're just putting the pressure plate and the clutch plate in. And these bolts all around the clutch, there's 6 of them. They're all H6s. And since the alignment tools that come with the kit are super annoying just to get in, and then once you got everything tight, they're super annoying to just get out. What I like doing is I like eyeballing this. So I'll basically just get them all like nice and snug. That way the clutch is just kind of just like sitting in there and it's not like super tight. But if you do get it tight, then, you know, just unbolt them or loosen them a little bit. But what I like to do is I basically just eyeball it. So I move the disc around with a flathead, and right there, that's pretty centered. I probably need to adjust it a little bit down, but yeah, that's basically how I just align it. I mean, right there is pretty good. Once you get everything tightened down, it doesn't have to be like exactly perfect because there's still some movement that this will move once you go ahead and put the input shaft with the trans on. And then this will just like basically center itself. But as long as you got it as close as you can, just by eyeballing it, then you're good to go. So we just got to tighten all these down. I believe it's 25 Newton meters for all of them. And they have new Loctite. We got new hardware for them. So yeah, let's get this tightened down and then we'll put the trans in. All right, so now we're gonna do the trans harness. Basically this just goes to the manual trans, and then we got a ground out here, and then this all goes to the DME box. Just a couple sensors that need to get plugged in. Yeah, let's get the automatic harness off, and we'll put this manual one in. So, and the ground that you need for the harness is right here. This one's a 10, and then basically you just fish the rest of the harness from the rear through over there. It's held on with some brackets. And yeah, just get this ground off and then disconnect anything it's connected to over here. So we got this wire right here, the orange one that's coming from the harness for the automatic. And then you got to take off this part of the DME. All right, and yeah, you basically got to take this part out of the DME. This is the part that goes into the DME for the. So we got the automatic harness out. So the only different thing that changes with this little, I guess, block you could call it, are these two connectors. We're not going to be using those anymore. And then you got to swap this one into the DME. It just comes on the harness, so it's pretty interchangeable. So we got that harness in. Basically the same thing goes over here. These are all the same, all these three. The only difference is the black and blue one. And then obviously the connector for the harness to the trans. So pretty straightforward. You just got to take that part out of the DME, disconnect all this stuff. This little block comes out with this little clip right here. And yeah. So now we're gonna put this teardrop hood exit. So it's basically gonna look like that. We're gonna have to fab up a hole in the hood, but we'll just go ahead and toss this on right now, and then we'll make a teardrop once we're done with the whole manual swap and it's ready to go. That looks wicked raw. Absolutely. Now we're in the pedal box of the car, so we got to take out this automatic. Has the kickdown switch here, so we got to put in this manual one. So now we come down here and we need to get this brake pedal off the master. So the clip over here that connects the master to the pedal, and that's this clip right here. You basically just use a flathead to like pry it off, and then you push it off. And then there's a pin over here you have to take off. It's right here where my finger is. You got to pull that out, and then it'll free itself from the master. And then there are 3 mounting bolts for the pedal assembly. So there's one right here, one over here, and then one up top over here. It's kind of hard, I can't really get it with the camera, but it's up there. And then this whole thing should come out. Here I got the brake pedal out. Here's the one we're going to be putting in. It has the clutch on the assembly. The mounting bolts are all the same. So down here, those 2 on the bottom, those are both 13s, and then this one on the top is a 10. So this is basically just straightforward. So all this is the same mounting and everything. It's just we now have a clutch pedal and a master cylinder. So now we're working on the clutch line that goes from the slave, and we got catered in the car. And then so basically there's a line, or there's a hole right here. There's a cover, a hole in there, and then you just like cut it away. And then there's a grommet you got to take out. And then this goes in the car like this, and then this grommet replaces the one you just took out right over there. So have someone in the car put this in initially, have them pull it through, and then you can put this grommet on, and then bam. So once you have this line in, then you can go ahead and put the brake clutch assembly together. And then once we're all done with that and we have it all hooked up, then we can actually fit that grommet on how it's supposed to be. All right, so I got the clutch and brake pedal in. So we had to order this clamp over here. It's a C-clip that goes into here. You can see it over there for the hard line. And then basically just hook back up the sensor over here. And then we're gonna figure out what we do with these wires for the clutch pedal sensor. And then yeah, but all this is good. Obviously this is not connected, but brake's good. So now we just got to get into the car and hook up the slave and the trans. So let's do that now. So we just got the manual trans in, super easy. We got the line over here for the clutch line onto the slave. We just went ahead and put the slave on the transmission first, since you know there's no brake fluid in the lines. And then we got all new hardware for the transmission bolts. So those were super buttery smooth to just put in. And yeah, this thing just slid in when we went to go put it on. We put the RTD DSSR on now, so it's not a pain in the ass when this is already up here. So we just gotta take this bracket off since there's no exhaust for it to hold. And then we gotta swap over these mounts right here. But first we're gonna get the RTD in, and then we'll go ahead and just bolt everything up down here, and then we'll put on the drive shaft. So moving on to the interior, the gear selector, we're going ahead and get this out, disconnect all the harnesses and stuff. There's two plugs, or there's one black plug right here, and then there's a blue one that goes to this one, and then these two go to the boot. And then you want to take this out, take the boot off, just pull straight up on the shifter, and then there's 3 T30s, 1, 2, and then 3 goes over here, and then this whole thing should pop off. You just got to pull hard on it. And then the next step is getting this this cable out. So to take this bracket off, there's this retainer clip right here, and then this just slides out, and you can just drop it down, drop this down as well. And then this whole assembly should just come right out. There you go. Don't need that anymore. All right, so we got the RTD in. They supply you with these mounting bolts right here, but we didn't have to use those since this was an automatic car. We got these 3 bolts right here that we're holding in the automatic shifter, and it already had some threads in there, so we just went ahead and used those bolts, and it held it down pretty good. I mean, just the same as those mounting bolts it would give you. So we got that in, and yeah, it looks great. All right, so right now we're getting brake fluid into the entire system. So what you got to do for these auto cars, since they have this reservoir, these capped off nipples are gonna be on both sides. And the only thing that changes when you put in the new master is you just got to cut the end of this one. So you kind of just cut this off right on that line, and then you can slide your hose on. This will start leaking. You can slide your hose on and then fill it up with fluid, and then have someone in the car pumping the pedal. And then there's like a little space back here that's for the master. Just make sure this is always full. Make sure this is always full too. So yeah, we got this full. We got brake fluid in the master, so we're gonna raise the car up and then bleed the slave cylinder, and then we should be good. All right, so right now we are bleeding the slave cylinder. Up here is just an 11. It's better to use a stubby 11 with a wobble and an extension, 1/4 inch, and then this goes right on. Have your pedal commander just hold the pedal, and then you should be able to bleed it nice. Holding? And this should spit out a bunch of like bubbly, foamy brake fluid. That's how you know you're doing it right. So then tighten that back up. Then have them do it again. So right now we're working on all the wiring for the clutch switch. Right here we got the wire coming from the cabin for the clutch switch. We got it to pin 18 for the DME. This is the only one that's going to come out here, and we routed it through the hole that comes for this hose right here. So you just bring that wire where that hose comes out to, and then pop up the diagram right here on the screen. Just check that out, and that basically tells you where every single pin is supposed to go. So only 2 pins from the clutch switch go into the CAS. So you got these connectors right here. There should already be a wire for the auto trans, which is this blue one right here. That's your pin 41. And then on this other end where I have this wire sticking out, I had an extra harness where I could just put the pin in there and basically just run that. So yeah, just look at that that diagram I put up on screen. And this is really straightforward, super easy. And then for the ground, just find a good place to put the ground. You could even drill a hole right here, but we're gonna be finding a ground somewhere, probably posi tap in, or we're gonna get this done, and then we'll move on to programming. So we got all the wiring done. You can just see all the pigtails and the tape up there. You just kind of want to just tuck it up in here. That way it's out of the way when you put this cover on that goes over here. The automatics, let me show you. The automatics don't have the place for where the clutch pedal would be, so you're gonna have to cut it with like a Dremel or some cutter tool or something. I got a Dremel here, and there's like an outline, you can see it right there. We're just gonna cut that, right, so before we start coding the vehicle order and things like that, we do have to come into here, into this black connector. It might be different for your vehicle, but these are like some twisted wires. Those are the CAN bus. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab the blue and red wire and the blue and red wire, and you're gonna connect those two, and then the red wire and the red wire, you're gonna connect those two. And then if you don't do that before, then you just gotta do this and recode it again, and add the auto transmission, then remove it again, and then code the manual transmission. But just so you can save yourself the headache, do that and then start the vehicle order and start coding everything. So right here we're using Pro Tool. So what you want to do, the first thing you want to do is you want to go into multi-ECU, and then you want to go to vehicle order. And then in this vehicle order right here, you're going to press edit, and then it's going to give you all these options with the check boxes. You're going to see automatic transmission, one of those. Check the box, click actions down here, and then press save. It's going to ask you a couple questions like you want to recode this DME, blah blah blah. Press confirm on both those pages, and then it'll take like 2 minutes to start coding everything. So then we're going to go into car access system. We're going to go into coding, edit coding, and then you can back up if you want, but we already did that. And then there's going to be in standard, there's going to be park neutral eval, engine start with P&D. Make sure all of these are disabled. And then engine start with clutch enabled, engine start with brake disabled, and that should be it for all the transmission ones. This freaking wiper's going crazy, he only has one. So you're gonna go disable this, disable this, disable this, enable this if not already, disable this, and then disable this, disable this, and that should be it. So then you want to press finalize, and then it'll code everything to what you selected. Coding finalized, and then you want to cycle the ignition, and then we're going to go into our oil module. Going to go into coding, edit coding. And then there are a lot of options for the FRM, so you're just going to look up manual in the search bar, and then you're going to make sure this is set to auto or manual transmission. Make sure that's enabled, so we already have that, so we can move on. Then yeah, when you did the vehicle order, it coded the cluster, foot wall, car access, and then it did some things in the DME. But all that coding I showed was all you got to do, so now we can start the car. So we got the car to start just now. I didn't film it though, unfortunately, but so I was having issues with like the clutch pedal starting. So what I did here in the cast coding is I disabled the clutch pedal start, abort clutch pedal, all that stuff, and I put the starting into the brake pedal. So I mean the only thing that is like an issue now is you just got to make sure this thing is in neutral before you start it, or else it'll just go flying. But yeah, if you're having issues with the clutch pedal and like the car doesn't want to start because of the clutch pedal or something, just try putting the start into the brake pedal and then see if it starts, and if it does, you're good to go. So right now we're just dropping the trans fluid. Gonna swap it out with some Multiple T90 fluid. This fluid was super dark, so good thing we're changing it. Alright, so we went ahead and took off the hood. I put the hood dump back on with the O2 sensors. Yeah, so now we can go take it for a drive and see how this thing feels manual instead of automatic, after we just did the manual swap, complete manual swap. So let's get it. think, bro? Crazy, This car was just automatic. Now it's got a shifter. And the hood exit. So car's all done. We went for a drive and tested it out. Clutch feels great. Shifting feels great. It feels like a whole new car. So that is how you actually do a manual swap on an M54. Feel free to leave down any comments, any questions you have of this build. If you need any help doing anything, let us know and we'll try to get to you. But that is how you do this. We'll see y'all in the next one.